Alright, so as you may have seen in the last episode where we were working on the overworld side of the lazy loot and raid farm, we are now going to be working on the Nether side. We're not, just like we did in the last episode, we're not going to be working on the farm and processing stuff in and of itself. That will be for a whole different episode. This one will be where we start to actually clear out the area for the processing part on the Nether side. Now, yes, if you have watched the Lazy Raid Farm video, you do know that you do not need to do anything on the Nether side in terms of clearing out any area. That is because everything is handled on top of the Bedrock roof. Whereas for us, we don't really want to do that just late into the game, so what we're going to do is make something underneath the Bedrock roof, in a sense, to combine the processing part above with the area down below. That way we're not just being lazy and building something on top of the Bedrock roof, which would then, in a sense, feel a bit lazy to me personally. Because we are on almost 2 years of this world, I feel like building something on top of the Bedrock roof now in this late in the game would just feel like you're just trying to get the project done, and that's not what we are usually about here at AutoCraft. So we are going to combine some decoration and everything like that. We're going to make something different, and we're not actually going to make a square perimeter. What we're going to do is, since we've done something we've never done before, we have done it similarly with the bee farm here, but it wasn't on a full perimeter scale. What we're going to do is do a full perimeter circle dig in the Nether so that we can experience what it's like to actually dig a perimeter in the Nether. We have done countless ones in the overworld, only 2 of them being on a scale of a perimeter size, most of them only being a couple chunk loaders. So, you know, roughly like 27 and 18 chunks like that. This one will be a full 258 by 258 circle, so that will enclose everything there. We're going to start doing that, probably stream a lot, because it will be quite a tedious progress, especially the first couple layers, because obviously in the Nether, the topmost layers below the Bedrock are basically solid blocks. You have very little area that's not cleared out, which we get down below, down the bottom. However, we cannot choose the location because it's all based off portal linking. So wherever the portal is in the overworld, that automatically determines where our portal is in the Nether. So we have no choice what Nether terrain we get and stuff like that. So if we're in Basalt Delta, we are in for a rough time. Hoping that it's a regular Nether area, whether that just be Nether waste, or we'll take even a warped forest or things like that, because they're not as bad as it is, you know, for Basalt Delta or Soul Sand Valley, things like that. Especially when it comes to the lava clearing, which we have some things planned to do for. So yeah, let's go start doing on that project, and we will see how it goes. Alright, so the full machine to help clear out the lava here is good to go. So this will be something that should hopefully help us out with all this lava, instead of us having to manually clear this lava out by sand or gravity blocks, things like that. Obviously this is only one of 3 which we'll probably build, and of course there will be some spots in the corners, because today is a circle and not a square, where we will have to do it manually because the machine will not fit. There is a longer machine, but I just cut it down so that this is like the more practical one in a sense. So we only need about 3 of these to cover about somewhat of the full circle here, which isn't too bad in my opinion, than having to do it in sand or gravity blocks, concrete powder, things like that. Obviously we'll still have to do all of these manual, but these aren't too bad because we can reach the edges as placed in the sand and the gravel. The lava lakes like these out here, a bit annoying because you have to like make a wall and then go around. It's just, I feel like this is worth it to us. We'll see how quick it is and how much time it takes into consideration how much time it took us to build it. Roughly 2.5 hours to build this, which isn't too bad at all. Obviously material gathering, a couple of minutes. Everything's already pre-done and crafted and stuff like that. We just gotta get it over here, which was only a couple shulker boxes. I think it was like 5 or 6 shulker boxes in total, and most of that was of course slime blocks. So stuff we already have in large quantities, which makes it really easy to do this and worth it in my opinion. So yeah, let's go launch it we've done so many time lapse already, so maybe we'll launch it real quick for the video, and then we'll just come back once this one's done, and then build up the other two. Also, another reason why this might not be worth it on a larger scale is it is quite laggy when it does move forward, because it moves forward at like quite a bit of blocks at a time. So I wouldn't recommend it on a full perimeter scale, definitely not a render distance scale. If you do it on that larger scale, you want to build multiple machines, like we're doing here. Even on a regular perimeter dig scale, it is still something to do on a smaller scale than the whole thing at once. Plus, if we do it all at once, we would actually clear out less area, because as you can see here, this one, if we were to extend it, it would be inside of the wall, which we don't want to do. But yeah, let's start this off and see it working in action. We just break this redstone block right on top of this sticky piston down here. And to stop it, we can just place the redstone block back. Yep, as you can see, they are kind of like flying machines, but once they reach the bottom, they go back up. And then, of course, we check for every single one of them. Once all of them are there, it moves forward a block. This is why it wouldn't work for water very well. Actually, it probably wouldn't work for water at all, but yeah, this here working pretty good, and it seems to be doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And yeah, so the whole goal here obviously is to clear out all of the lava. So you will see once it reaches this part here where it clears out this lava, it'll move forward all the way up. So obviously for the center here, it's not going to be ideal to do that, because this is going to hit the ground and go back up, but that's not too big of a deal, because that's what it's designed to do. Once it hits the bottom, it goes right back up. We actually, it looks as if we built the machine too low, or too low to the ground, so this front part doesn't work. So we'll have to clear out some of the land here deep enough so that we can have the flying machine go down far enough. So that's something we've learned. I didn't know that that was the case. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to just dig a little bit more for this area here, and then for the next machine we'll build it a little bit higher. That way we don't have to account or worry about the machine getting stuck here on land. Not too big of a deal, a little bit of fixing, but yeah, we'll obviously know what to do for the next time now. But yeah, so I got a little bit more digging ahead of me for this machine. So we'll be back once hopefully a huge majority of the lava is cleared out. Alright, so as you can see, we have one of them fully done here. I did originally have a time-lapse building this one up, but then Dazi and I built these two up so that we can run both of these together, so that's what the time-lapse was then. But yeah, everything's all good. One is completely finished. It's as far as we can let it go without it pushing forward, you know, the full amount again. But yeah, everything does work. See, in the middle one, we had to dig down a little bit just to fit it in without having to rebuild the machine. That was the better alternative in our opinion, so we just dug down a little bit. And it also clears out a little bit more lava down below, so it's not the worst of trades in the world. But yeah, we got two more to run that we can actually do. As you can see, it's not going to get all the way to the corners of where the spots over here in the circle here. But that's not too big of a deal. It's way less lava than having to clear out the full circle by hand, which I think we're perfectly fine with. And yeah, so once this is all done, we can start to see the area without the lava, which I think will look pretty cool. Then we'll be off to finishing the mining part all the way down so we get the bedrock to the bedrock. And we'll be doing something special with the bedrock above at some point. But I think we're going to focus on clearing this out first, and then we'll worry about that. So yeah, let's start these flying machines off, and we'll be back once these are both done. Alright, so not much has actually changed down here. We started a little bit. I don't know who's doing the scaffolding, but I think that's a bit slower in my opinion. But you can see here, I just started to break down the lava clears down here, which is why not much progress has been made on the actual dig part. I did clear out this stuff underneath the terrain here, but that's about it. But there's still a lot to do in this area. The main clearing of the lava in the corners, which will take quite some time to do. But we are actually starting on to do something else on top of the bedrock here. So the first layer is going underway here. And you may notice that it's only a square, and we are digging a circle underneath. So what we did is actually found this cool thing that showed the biggest square possible inside of a circle. There was a calculator for that. Basically put the radius for our circle in the calculator, and then it told us the biggest possible square from the center block that can be made inside the circle, which is very useful for this bedrock breaking project because the bedrock breaker obviously breaks in a square pattern, not a circle. So as you'll see here, if I load up the circle schematic that we have, you'll see what actually needs to be cleared either with one-way bedrock breakers, or if we want to do some lag bedrock breaking. We won't be using that bedrock breaking mod thing because honestly that's just a little bit too much and takes the fun out of bedrock breaking. The same thing with the lag bedrock breaking. But if we can keep the circle pattern of this, I think I'm okay with the lag bedrock breaking one over anything, because that would still be a lot of one-way bedrock breakers we would have to do. So if more than likely fine with doing the lag bedrock breaking method if that's what it comes to, because if we can keep the circle, like I said, that's the best case scenario because it will look the best, and that we've done it technically in vanilla Minecraft. But yeah, like I said, hopefully we can do that. It will take a lot of time to do that. So definitely not doing it manually because that would just no. Just no. That would take way too long to do manually. So I think I'm good with either of those two options that I did. So this is going underway, and we still need to do a lot. So hopefully we can kind of get two projects on at once. So hopefully we can start. Probably start taking down these lava clears again. I did one of them partially on stream and partially this morning. And then hopefully we can start getting rid of the lava, and then it should be smooth sailing from there because there's not too much lava that would be left. And if it is, they're little pockets, which is not too difficult to deal with compared to a full lava ocean or lake, whatever you want to call the main area for the Nether. So a bit of a progress update. Let's go get some more stuff done, and hopefully we come back with either this fully down the bedrock or the bedrock up there fully broken. Alright, a bit of time later now, and we have some decent progress here. We actually cleared out all of the lava here. As you can see, all the machines that were going from the last clip and everything like that is all done now. And we're actually just down to the regular solid, either, solid ground here, or we have the little lava spikes, I like to call them, that are still there, and whatever else left over from that. And I would say some members have also been filling those up with sand, whatever is visible from the top. And obviously, of course, with these little spikes, there are some little spots, either where the 1 blocks or there's a couple blocks where need to be cleared up because they're not visible from the top, which will not be too big of a deal. But yeah, good progress so far. We did also use some other things to clear out the lava. Something that Ant did design was a sort of like a 3-way lava clear that works for the circle pattern, where we don't need any, you know, non-movable blocks on the side here. So basically what it would do is it does the same thing, or it does a little bit different than the ones we have that go all the way down and moves forward. This one, basically what it does is it'll just go basically back and forth across the full circle, and then it'll just clear out however tall it is. I think we also did ask for like a 6-block tall one, because there was only a 3-block tall, so we asked for like a 6. That way we only really need to build a machine twice, then it would clear everything that we really need to, provided that there was no land in between. Obviously, you guys did see from the last clip where there was obviously some land in between all the lava spots, so did to end up building it a couple times, but that's not too big of a deal because it was a fairly simple machine to build. But yeah, so a lot of progress still done. I'm currently at 2.1. I have not been at the server, unfortunately, very recently due to some things related to family, which I will not discuss. But as you can see, I just finished what was left of this layer here. So now we are down to Y13, I believe. Yep. And we got a little bit less to go, but honestly, compared to this full project, it's not a lot. And hopefully we can finish this week. That way we get this video up by Saturday, and that would be the main goal. So yeah, let's see what we can finish this off, and then we'll work on the top part here, which will be a little bit of a spoiler, but obviously you can see what the main part was, and then we'll show that in a different episode where we actually spend a lot of time actually doing that, which will be quite a while. Alright, as you can see here, we have the full perimeter completely cleared out all the way to the bedrock floor. Finally, this did take quite some time, especially with starting to do the top part up here as well with the bedrock, which will be for a fully different episode where we focus on doing that. Like I said, it's going to take quite some time, as you can still see we're still in the first layer and stuff like that at the time of recording this, but however, the main bulk of the work is now done. Yes, the bedrock clearing will take a good amount of time, but it won't take nearly as long as this whole project to clear out this area did in the first place. Now, yes, was this needed? Not at all. The main reason why I wanted to do this is because it gives us something to put here rather than just the storage and everything like that on top of the bedrock roof, which at this point in the game, we're almost 2 years now into this world. I feel like just plopping something on the bedrock roof doesn't make the most sense. It feels a bit lazy to me. So I wanted to do something a little bit more over the top, which we'll see in the next episode where we actually start to decorate this area. We have the floor planed out, the walls we don't know what we're going to do yet, but we have a couple ideas. It's a bit hard to do a perimeter decoration where it's on a circle, especially with building it in survival, let alone even just planning it out in creative. So we will have to see. But yeah, all in all, this is definitely something that we wanted to do once. Will we ever do this again? Probably not in a circle pattern, that is for sure. But I wanted to actually dig out a full perimeter in the Nether just to see how much of a pain it is compared to the overworld, which, let me tell you, digging it out isn't a problem. It's the lava that is the main issue, which is why it takes such a long time, even with all the helper machines that we've had done. And it still took quite some time to complete, which was not something I expected to be. It would be like, you know, a couple weeks at most. It was more than a couple weeks, so yeah, granted we did work on the top bedrock clearing as well at the same time, so this probably would have been a little bit faster, maybe like a week or so faster, but I needed a break. Most of us members needed a break just from clearing out this area, so that's what we did two at once for a little bit here. But yeah, this is all done. We have the materials for do the floor, which is very simple. As you can see, there's only 5 different types of items, and we'll hopefully see some things with the walls being developed in the coming days. That way we'll have the all decorated and everything like that before the next video is done. Obviously with the bedrock breaking, we can't go too high. I think we'll stop around like 110 or something like that, just so we don't risk anything being blown up with the bedrock breaking on the top. So if you don't know, we plan to break all the bedrock within the circle. That way we have like in a sense, a perfect circle right above this to just tie into it even more. And we will see how that was done a little bit in the upcoming episodes. That's it for this episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, all those sorts of things, and I will see you in the next one.